All right. I'm very excited about this one. Renee's a very good friend of mine. I train with her often with some of my people over at Charlotte Jiu-Jitsu Academy. And she's in her last match, she had some anxiety uh, type of issues, mental blocks, she was saying. But the way she was talking before this match, it sounded like a completely different person. She sounded
See,
very confident. She said, I've never trained this hard. I've never been in this good of shape.
you love to see the growth.
Yeah.
You know, competing's hard.
She said competing is very scary, and she has all the respect for Katy because her and Katy actually started around the same time, always trained in similar circles, so she knows Katy's good. But she said what gives me peace going into this match is that I don't have to face this version of me. I have to face Katy.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's very
That's
confident.
That's profound.
I was like, yeah, I mean, you can give respect to your opponent and still be like, yeah, I'm pretty scary right now. And Renee feels like she's hit a stride with training. She switched over gyms a couple times. She found herself over there honest grappling with Mike Powell in Concord, and he's a great coach, a black belt, former Toro Cup winner himself. He was on the last Toro Cup show. So I think that's just a good. You got to have a gym where you feel supported and
Absolutely.
you feel like people want to see you succeed. And as long as you have that and you work as hard as either of these girls do, because I know Katy works extremely hard too, you'll be successful. But I think these girls are all action. You see Renee, we're not even 2 minutes into this. She's had looks at the back. She's had looks at mount. That was kind of her game plan going into this, was to try and be very heavy on the feet and get the back early. And we see her on the back early.
We love when a game plan comes to fruition, you know?
Yeah, I've not seen Katy. I think I may have seen Katy compete on an all-in grappling show, but I know she does like a lot of tournament-based competition. I know she was just victorious at one of the more like a not ADCC, but like a New Breed or Naga or something like that was in Concord.
And it is different, you know, super fight style versus a tournament style. Tournaments, you're
100%.
managing your energy.
Yeah.
You know, we're a little bit more conservative. Whereas super fights, you have 10 minutes, maybe 15 to ball out.
Yeah, and you don't want to ball out that entire 10 minutes, or at least I can't ball out for 10 minutes. I got about 3 minutes to ball it out.
We'll save it for the kids.
Left in me, right?
The kids can do it.
Exactly, But when I even rolling with Renee or watching her roll with others, she's very fast and attack heavy, and I think adding the new dimension of her game with Honest, she's going to catch up some of these types of areas, the areas in between the back attacks, because she's always been very scrambly and able to get to the back, but forcing the back, that's a whole different level, right?
Yeah. Ooh. Great transition over into mount. Looking for the gift wrap.
Katy just staying very in the box, trying to keep everything together, elbows and knees, so she doesn't open up anything on her body that Renee could expose in terms of an arm. You see her just staying super tight, trying to be patient, being disciplined. And right now there's no points on the board, right? So
Right.
there's not that big urgency to make something happen yet.
Can be a little bit more conservative for now.
Yeah.
A lot of patience here from both ladies.
Yeah, I would expect more bridging of the hips from Katy. She's trying to walk the hips sideways and create a little bit more rotation, get her hip freer maybe. Oh, I love this. This is one of my favorite setups from mount, when people try to frame and you cover with your
Yes.
knee right here. It's so hard to get your arm back if you pinch down. And it looks like that's what Renee's trying to set up as she crawls up the mount for that high mount now.
I really like the triangle from here.
Yeah, me too.
Shocking,
Me too.
but
Yeah, BMAC triangle course. Probably one of the best mounted triangle courses you can get. Putting the weight in, I like to see. This is kind of an improvement too. I have not seen Renee play a ton of mount. She's very heavy on this gift wrap, and she's addressing the changes in the weight and the escape attempts pretty well so far.
And points are about to come into play. So if this has been, her game plan, looking for the back.
And right as points were about to come on, Katy regains this three-quarter mount, or three-quarter guard. Will that come back to haunt her? Because now there's an urgency on two fronts. There's the urgency to escape, which has always been there, and there's the urgency to make sure you don't get past.
Don't get past, don't get your back taken either.
Yeah, and Renee looks like she was about to rush that, but she gets a nice underhook, and she's going to work her way back to the center line, pinning Katy's back, and Katy's really trying to go all in on stopping that. She physically reaches up and pushes the leg back down between her legs and bites that down on that gritty defense on display.
Negating some points for now. I would love to see a little bit more movement on bottom.
Yeah, well,
a little more sense of urgency.
The time
let's
is on
let's
now,
work
right?
our way
if
out.
If you have been conserving energy.
Yep.
You've been conserving it for this reason, right? There's one thing that Mike Powell has been really good at as far as my experiences in classes with him. He's very good at taking a position you've seen a million times or taking something you maybe even have done 100 times as a jiu-jitsu person and going, you could be a little meaner with that. Let me show you how. You flip your wrist over and they really start hating their life. And I'm like, oh, cool. I think
every time I teach women, I'm always like, you can be a D word. Be more of a D word. Let's go.
Gift wrap, and now moving the thigh higher and higher up the neck as if the chair sit may be coming.
I like the climb.
Because that's
need a little more back to chest connection. Look at it. There it is.
There's that dilemma there, right? Like, do you continue to not address that foot? Do you leave that three-quarter? Because it just becomes a back hook if you're not careful.
Great defense, though. She rolled through that.
Yeah, she's giving everything to keep those points off the board. Renee's trying to step through and clear for those points.
We've had a lot of matches today, either going the distance, going into overtime.
Yeah. It may be one of the most competitive overall Toro Cups in terms of that happening more often than not. Oh, big step over, and I think Katy might have
back.
Oh, wow. She tries, but Renee floats over back to right where we started, basically, to get that neutral. Both ladies doing everything in their power here to change the dynamic. Katy just trying to hold on to this defensive position. Her last bastion here is this half guard. And it has gotten better from the three-quarter guard, but Renee seems to be slicing through.
Yeah, the results of today, it's a testament to good matchmaking.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of evenly matched competitors, only a couple of, general blowout matches, but when these are going the distance, they're skill for skill.
I feel like you didn't come to you didn't come to many of the most recent previous shows at Triangle, but there was an energy change or almost like a mental change from the athletes in this different venue. The venue looks a little bit different. It creates a different kind of atmosphere. It's just like the stakes feel higher.
It's with no knock to previous Toro shows, it's a more professional atmosphere.
Renee's up 4. She finally gets that mount and secures it long enough to get 4 on the board. And now Katy's got an uphill battle ahead of her. Another thing
7-0.
Renee said that she was looking for in this match was a head and arm.
Katy's got some work to do. It's not saying that it can't be done.
No,
but she does have some work to do.
Well, Katy's boyfriend is Joshua James, so I have no doubt that she's got an insane footlock game on her own right. I know that's what she's kind of going to get the most exposure to, training in the circles that she trains in right now, and she's been very adamant on this half guard, which leads me to believe that she wants something from there, but I think it may be a little late. And also Renee's just shown some improvements in the top game.
She's got some outstanding top pressure, and it's relentless. She hasn't really...
I'm glad she's gotten to display this because it's just not a part of her game we've had much exposure to on Toro. It's always been very scrambly matches with her taking the back and a lot of movement based, but this has been her stifling movement. This has been her controlling, dominating. And now she's looking at this necktie Darce-like look She's trying to feed that neck down with the elbow. Now switching to the guillotine. Short time left. She's still attacking on the offense. Katy tries to get a last-minute shot for some points of her own. Renee steps over again onto the back, and that looks really close. Katy's going to try to survive, and she just misaligns the spines, and Renee Kiernan will win this one by 7 points.
Great match. Love to see that for Renee.